So thank you, the Honorable Herbert L. Grimes, for letting us know about how high the stakes are. Our program will now highlight those who don't rest in our community and are to be acknowledged. We have difference makers, trailblazers, the president. Did you ever know that you're a hero? One of my favorite songs. First, we're gonna refer you to your program because in your program there's a full acknowledgement of each of the people that we're gonna talk about and the people and organizations and some of the great works that they're doing throughout the community. As a community advocate myself, realtor, and elected official, I have personally worked and had the opportunity to see the positive impacts of each of these recipients that we're about to present. Please welcome Community Life Center that's being acknowledged. Since 1996, this organization has been a beacon of light and hope in the community of Deltona, which is many times known to have very few charitable and community resources, but I know y'all working on it. I know y'all. So I know Community Life Center does a great job in our community, and Michael Patowski, Mike Patowski is coming up to be presented. So help me welcome Mike Patowski. Thank you, Mike, for the great work that Community Life Center does. I know as a commissioner with West Volusia Hospital Authority, it was important to us to acknowledge your resources in the community. So I thank you, and thank you, President Mike Williams. Go ahead and tell him. Feel free to tell him.
Good evening, everybody. I just wanted to say thank you on behalf of the Community Life Center, Pine Ridge Fellowship, all our board, and all of our volunteers. It's a very, very humbling to get this award tonight for our organization. I just want to let everybody know that we will be doing a food drop this coming Tuesday at Dewey Booster Park. So if you know anybody in need of food, please come out. It starts at 9 o'clock in the morning from 9 until the supplies are gone. So come on out. Thank you. I also want to thank the city of Deltona and our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next difference maker is the Neighborhood Center. Help me welcome Dr. Rashay Hines to the stage. Neighborhood Center since 1969 in West Volusia is known as the place with heart. Their mission is to help the most vulnerable and least advantaged in society while working to bridge racial divides throughout our community. And I certainly know of their great works in our community. Thank you. Help me welcome.
Well, we're humbled and thank you for honoring us with this award, first of all. We stand on the backs of giants. We first want to thank our partnership with the municipalities, the city of DeLand, the county as well. And the next year we'll be taking on a major endeavor for this community with the opening of the bridge. With that, as we said, this is our 50th year in service. Our service would not happen without our front-end people. So Sharon and Waylon and all of our staff at the Neighborhood Center who oftentimes go unnoticed and don't get the acknowledgement for all the great work they do, taking in all those in need. So thank you all. Thank you for anybody who's given charitably to the thrift store in any way, who's come in and bought. Thank you for all that you do. We thank you for this honor. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your service to the community. Next we have Alvesta Moore Lubin. She's a U.S. retired lieutenant colonel, and since 2005 she's assumed the duties of the senior Army instructor for ROTC program at Deltona High School. I know she's done so much more, so please refer to the program. I believe her brother Art Moore is here to receive on her behalf. Thank you, and please thank her for all of her work and dedication.
Thank you.
You want to?
I just want to say on behalf of my sister that she will definitely say thank you. And we truly thank you together. Because that last name, although she put a little hyphen on the end, that more was giving back.
Thank you so much. Lydia Gregg has more than 25 years of helping first-time homebuyers realize their dream of home ownership. I know she's done so much more. I've worked with her with community efforts throughout. She does credit repair. She just really holds the hand of our community residents to help them realize their dreams. But then I was introduced to her as a scoutmaster, right? And for the boys and the girls, I believe. So what a hard-working woman, one of the hardest working women I know, besides myself. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm very honored and humbly accept this award. And I'd like to encourage each of you to make a difference in the lives of a youth. Currently, we're trying to make a difference in the Spring Hill area. And if you have, that has to be the beautiful Althea back there.
It would be.
Yes, yes. And I think I see Reverend Johnson, our charter, yes, yes. So I really encourage you to make a difference in our youth. They're our future. Our future is important. Give them to your time, even if it's just a little something like transportation, something. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lydia, for all the work I know you did for our community. Last but not least is Ted Small, attorney and founder of the Color Line Roundtable, facilitating a diverse group of community stakeholders, civic leaders, neighbors, friends, willing to share views on provocative issues on American race relations. Whew. That was a mouthful, but I'll just give you a minute. I'm sure he has a mouthful to share with you as well, but a short mouthful. Thank you. How did I know?
President Mike Williams told me I had 5 minutes. I'm going to use every one of those. Good evening, neighbors. I'm so humble to accept this award as a difference maker from my hometown community. I am also a graduate of Edith I. Stark Elementary School, and I think that needs to be recognized. In the absence of my parents, the late Theodore and Beatrice Small, I am going to dedicate my receipt of this award to some of the unrecognized heroes and difference makers of our community. The teachers who poured into me at Evergreen Day School, First Presbyterian, Stark Elementary, DeLand Junior, Southwestern 7th Grade Center, and DeLand Senior High School. But I can't tarry there because the stakes are just too high. And so I am going to make 3 points substantively. Psalm 133 says, "How good it is and pleasant for brethren to dwell together in unity." Point number 1, but how can we dwell together as brethren when our federal, state, and local governments have been complicit in legislating, regulating, zoning, and enforcing laws that keep us in largely separate but unequal neighborhoods. If you want to know more about that, read The Color of Law by Richard Rothstein, 2017. Point number 2. And how can we call each other brethren when even so-called white progressives get uncomfortable, defensive, and even mad if some of their few friends of color dare to even tell them that they are still experiencing racism every day? Racism is not individual acts by individuals who are bad or immoral. Racism is systematic, interconnected, legally enforced system that we are all, as Americans, socialized in. And if you want to know more about that, read White Fragility, 2018, by Robin DiAngelo. Point number 3, lastly. And how can we dwell together in unity when the racism about which we cannot speak has established and is perpetuating a racial caste system where, for example, in 1996 in 15 states, 70 to 90% of those jailed for drug offenses were black, even as research shows that whites use illegal drugs 7 times as much as blacks. Nevertheless, because so many of you have been courageous enough to come and join me and other persons of color around the Color Line Roundtable, I still am persuaded that the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends toward justice.
Amen. Thank you so much. The stakes are too high. He explains why we can't rest. Our next award category is the Trailblazer, will be presented by Danya Maria Twyman. While she's coming up, I want you to know that I'm wearing this lovely diamond ring that was found in the back in the ladies' bathroom. Come find me if it's yours. It doesn't really fit, but come up.
Okay. Thank you, Barb.
Well, I think they got a tune that could chew you up. I think there's
Oh,
a tune.
you got a tune to cue me up? Cue me up. Cue me up. Burning. Okay, whomever. Well, should I move right along then?
Where's the tune? Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I know how they like to break in. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Danya Maria Twyman. And I'm so happy to be here before you this evening to talk about something that's not only just a special NAACP award, but an award that was so special to me when they brought up the idea of the Trailblazer. I didn't have to think long or hard about who to recommend for those awards. I want to talk to you about a few people who I know personally. They include Mr. Walter David Dawson, Mrs. Beverly Foster Faber, and a trailblazer, not only just a trailblazer, an independent black woman, but my mother, Mrs. Jean A. Richardson. Go ahead and say you. Shout it out when you feel like it. Don't be ashamed to say it. Mom's got her whole family here from Washington, D.C., and I want to make sure they know they're getting some love when they come up in here. Down in Florida, we're giving them some love, right? Let me talk about Mr. Walter David Dawson, who hails from Ohio. Walter, David we call him, affectionately known as David, and he's here tonight with his lovely wife, Dawn. Walter David Dawson was also an air traffic controller specialist at a time when it wasn't really popular for African Americans to hold those types of positions. He distinguished himself as a controller after he left the U.S. Army in the early 1970s. And we applaud David not just because of his trailblazing, but because of the work that he continues to do in the area of aviation and aeronautics by establishing an opportunity for young people to get educated and informed about those opportunities. Federal Aviation Administration, back in the day when my mom was doing it, really wasn't a big thing for Black people to get involved in that. And so we really honor David and Beverly and Jean for taking those bold steps, okay, when it wasn't really popular. Mrs. Beverly Foster Faber, who was a stay-at-home mom, taking care and raising her young sons, decided it just wasn't fulfilling enough. So when a friend referred her to the FAA and she didn't really have a lot of skills or had no idea about the organization, she decided to step out on bold faith, okay, and do what she was called to do, to trailblaze an opportunity for herself to become an air traffic, to be involved with the Federal Aviation Administration as a teletypist. And she distinguished herself for 30 plus years with the FAA, and we're very proud of her accomplishments. Last but not least, which brought me to the idea to recommend the FAA as a trailblazer, was my mother, who, when I was a very young teenager, started her quest with the federal government. And my mom was really fly. She still is very fly. Mom, stand up, stand up, stand up, stand up, stand up. My mom was really a beautiful, gorgeous woman. And thank you, Mom. And she had this fabulous job. So it was kind of curious in my neighborhood when my mother would go out late at night, all dressed to the nine, brand new car, sharp as a tack. She's going out 8, 10, 11 o'clock at night because she worked the night shifts earlier on. And so she had a little thing going on in the neighborhood where people trying to figure out what she was doing. Where's this Black lady going at nighttime, dressed to the nine? Can you imagine what they were thinking? Well, they had no clue, not an idea, that this accomplished young lady was going to a federal job to direct air traffic. Mom so distinguished herself to become not only just an air traffic control specialist, she became a trainer, and she retired as a distinguished air traffic controller for the Federal Aviation Agency. Ladies and gentlemen, I ask that you welcome to the stage with a round of applause for David Dawson, Beverly Faber, and Jean A. Richardson. Please come on. I'm going to ask him just to say a few words. I already know David's been working for weeks on a speech. Mom's been calling people. She has her whole family here. Her daughter and son-in-law are here from Maryland, and his mother, my sister's mother-in-law, and my Aunt Shirley's out there, and our next-door neighbor, Miss Carolyn, Mom's younger daughter. And by the way, that was my granddaughter, Teresia, who gave the earlier introduction. We keep the whole family involved, okay? Because we come from a long line of established civil rights movers, makers, and shakers. We didn't just start this with the NAACP. It's in our blood and our bloodline. I introduce to you my mother, Jean Richardson. Mom, let me take this, let me give you this. Thank you. Mrs. Beverly Foster Faber. Good. And Mr. Walter David Dawson. David?
Can I say a few words, please? Go ahead. Okay.
Good evening, everybody. I'm so thrilled to get this award. I want to thank my wife, Mrs. Diana Dawn Dawson. She's stayed with me through this journey. I want to thank my pastor, Dr. Reverend Carolyn Chine. And I want to thank Mike Williams, who I've known since I moved to Deltona, and the Volusia branch NAACP. And Judge Grimes may not remember, but I actually stood before his bench with my wife several years ago. And I want to thank you very much for this award.
Good evening. I just want to say thanks to the NAACP. I did not even want to be up here because I'm done with my career. And one thing Judge Grimes said about don't criticize, go in and help. I'm a board member of the museum, African American Museum of the Arts in DeLand. Please come in and help us. We need help to keep it open. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I don't have a lot to say, except thank you to the board, to the NAACP, to the city of Deltona for welcoming me here in 2004 among all your hurricanes. I was coming down the highway, moving here, and somebody at the gas station said, "Where are you going?" And when I packed up to move, I just put everything in the car, cooler, music, boogie down the road. I saw all these people going north. The guy said, "Where are you going?" I said, "Going to Central Florida." He said, "They're evacuating." I said, "I thought somebody had something for sale in South Carolina." But on a serious note, my success and the things that I accomplished are not due to anything more than God. Secondly, I had motivation. I had 3 little girls to raise. They, my life, before, now, and after. My daughter with the white that likes to dance, Rhoda, stand up, please. My daughter that likes to take pictures, Sharman, stand up, please. My oldest, and like she likes to say, I was my mother's worst nightmare, Diamond. I have my sister Shirley's here from Maryland. My son-in-law is here. Jimmy, stand up please. Jimmy's mom is here. Margie. And also at the table is my next door neighbor. She thinks I'm her mom, but she likes to hang out with me because I know what to do and where to go. That's Carolyn. So thank you all. Thank you so much. I love you so much. And keep living. Think of God. Amen.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mike.
Congratulations, dear.
Yeah, love to Gloria.
Yes, she's out in the audience.
Oh,
Mistress of ceremony? Are we still rolling, Mistress of ceremony? Okay. Okay, we're going to do some, yes, we're going to do some President's Awards. Just before I do that, however, I have an award I want to give. In 2017, we awarded the Trailblazer Award to the Euclid High School class of 1960. I think some of those class members are in here this evening. They were the class that integrated Woolworth and McCrory stores back in 1960. They were some brave souls. But I want you all to know that there was a young white girl who attended DeLand Junior High School who said to her parents, "Mom, Dad, I want to drink my Coca-Cola and eat my French fries with the rest of the students." While her father was absolutely furious, not because he was a racist, but he was concerned about the safety of his daughter. But her mother said to her, if you don't think you're going to put yourself in harm's way, I'm okay with you doing it. Tonight, and I've missed this for the last 2 years, and I found out tonight she's not here because she's sick. But anyway, that trailblazer, that young white girl who was in the 8th grade in 1960, came on to become, she was Jewel Smith at that time, but now she's Jewel Smith Dixon. So Jewel, wherever you are, this is your Trailblazer Award for saying, yes, I want to sit with the students and eat my french fries and drink my Coke with the rest of them, okay? All right. Now I'm going to move into the President's Award. There's a young man who, there's pictures on the screen. The work that he does for this branch is immeasurable, countless. He joined us about, how many, Barb, 5 or 6 years ago? 5 years ago. He came to us with a state of technology. Commissioner Nabi, I had just unhitched my horse from the hitching post. But this young man came in and he said, Mr. Williams, if you guys want to move forward, you've got to get into the age of technology. And he brought the age of technology to the West Volusia branch. This year, 80% of our sponsors paid online. Probably 60% of our members renew online. So it's the new wave, and he just accepted the role as our economic development chairperson. So ladies and gentlemen, I want you to give a big round of applause for Vernon Moore, the President's Award. And by the way, of all of this production you see tonight, he's responsible for it. So Vernon, you're on it.
How's everybody doing tonight? Folks, let me tell you, we are so happy that you guys are here tonight. We really are. We appreciate it. We work hard to put this production on for you. I hope you take advantage of this opportunity to engage with each other, network with each other, and be compassionate about what we do here in the community, because it's so important, okay? The NAACP is still relevant. One of the oldest civil rights organizations in America, we're still relevant. I look out, everyone, this is God's people are all out right here, right? Right? Can I get God get some hands? So I want to take this opportunity to just, again, from what Sean King was talking about earlier, I ask, please, join the branch. We're doing a great deal of things in the branch, okay? I could use your help in economic development. Danye could use your help in civic engagement. We also have an environmental council. We have the student youth council. There's a bunch of councils that you can get engaged in, okay? Do your part. Technology just happens to be something that I do, but it's not the main thing that I do. It's just a skill set that I want to contribute to the community. And I'm sure that you have something in there as well. Whether you can mentor a child, whether you have accounting skills that you can volunteer with, whatever the case may be, do your part in the NAACP. We have a spot for you. Okay? Is that okay?
Okay.
All right. Have a good night.
I'll take it. Don't take it. I'll take it. Put that in there. Put this in here? Yeah. Okay. We're going to do, I'm going to do the newcomer, and then after that, I'm going to do David Staples. The newcomer first? Yeah, I'm going to do him first. Does somebody know to throw a picture up on the screen back there? Okay. While we're transitioning from our President's Award recipient, this is probably a good time to bring back Barbara Graham, who I understand that the life member has arrived. His chauffeur was a little late getting him here. So the life member, Mr. Wilbur Ridgely III, if you want to come up and receive your life membership plaque, the membership chair will be happy to present it.
Thank you, Mike.
Go ahead.
Thank
Here, so here comes little Robert A. Ridgely III, a life member of the West Volusia NAACP. And his mom, Sandria Ridgely.
Okay.
That's for you. Say thank you. Say thank you. Okay, thank you so much.
Thanks, Brian. Okay, this gives us an opportunity now to, I'm going to present an award and completely surprise the person. I created a new category this year. I'm calling it the Newcomers Award. And this person came to us with a lot of enthusiasm, know-how. I always tell people, I really don't know how to do anything. But no, that's not quite true. I do know how to find people